What's up YouTube, Adrian the Barber here. Today I got a burst taper tutorial for you guys, and I'll be using my Andis Masters along with my wall detailers, purple magnetic guards, and my Andis T outliners for the lineup. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my number 2 blade, not my guard, my blade, and I'm gonna cut down his hair. I'm going with the grain. And I say it all the time in all my videos that this is the most important part of the haircut, because without a clean, smooth base, your haircut's not gonna look good. I see a lot of times where a barber will cut a nice clean fade, but then the hair, he can't get the hair to lay down, and the cut just doesn't look good. Now this number 2 blade, it's gonna leave the hair a lot thicker, but my client, he doesn't want to turn off the top. He just wants to get the hair to lay down, make it look smooth, and the number 2 blade is gonna get that job done. If I wasn't using this blade, this number 2 blade, and I want to get the same results, I'd take like my wall seniors and I'll put a 1.5 guard on, and I'll just go with the grain with that, and that's just about equivalent to this number 2 blade. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take my 1.5 blade, and I'm just gonna cut down the hairline. You'll see me do this in a lot of my future videos coming up. I did it in the last couple videos, I think, but I'm just trimming down the hairline. This is just like a preparation step before I go to line the hair up. Like I said, when you're doing this step, you don't want to take off too much hair. You just want to stay right on the hairline and get the hairline smoothed out. You see how I'm not going back towards the middle of the head at all. Just staying right on the front. Sometimes I'll use my guards or my blades. It just kind of depends. Whatever measurement I use on top, I usually go down one measurement to knock the hairline down. So for instance, I use my 2 blade on top, so now I have my 1.5 blade, which is one step lower, to knock down the hairline. So now with my Andis Masters, I'm gonna open them up all the way, as you can see right there, and I'm just gonna go up about 1/2 inch, creating another little guideline that I'm gonna come in and blend out. Again, being really light-handed, I'm not putting a lot of pressure. You can see that my line isn't like a super defined line that I'm creating, and it kind of almost blends into the top. And right now I'm just working on blending out this bottom line. So I'm gonna work my masters down about halfway. I'm gonna go in with my corners and my blades and just start to knock this line out. Again, using the corners is a super important part. It's gonna really help in keeping this taper low, because I don't want to go super high. Trying to use too much of the middle of the blade is an easy way. I'm not saying you're gonna for surely raise the taper, but it's a good way to possibly raise the taper higher than you want to get it. And you see I'm just playing with my adjustments. I'm gonna work them down halfway, then work it down all the way until I blend that line out. And if you have your fade master, or not fade masters, if you have your master set zero gap, you should be able to blend out that line you made with the detailers with no problem. So now here I have my 0 guard, throw it on there, and I'm just gonna open it up all the way. And I'm gonna go in and start to knock out the rest of that second line that I made. So you can see I'm going up about another 1/2 inch above that. Just starting now my transition into the top of the head. And after I have them all the way open, I work that. I'm using the same technique and I'm working my way back down now. So now I'm halfway, and I'm gonna continue just to knock out that line and blend into the top of the head. So after I get done with my 0 guard, you guys see a lot that I'll use the guard and then I'll jump back to the last thing I used. That just helps to kind of clean up that area that I just got done cutting. So after my 0 guard, I'll take my guard off, I'll open my clippers up, and I'll go in and I'll just clean up any little spots I see. Remember to use your mirror, because the mirror is going to show you everything that you need to clean up. And now, same technique again. I put my number 1 guard on this time, and this is going to be the guard I finish with to transition into the top of the hair. Like I said earlier, if I was going to cut down the top with the guard, I would have used a 1.5 guard. And what's lower than a 1.5 guard is your 1 guard. So that 1 guard is going to be the last guard you use to transition into the number 2 or number 1.5 guard if you use the guard, for instance. Again, you see me using just a lot of my corners just to make that final transition. And then another thing I'm gonna do is with my number 1 guard, I'm just gonna turn my clippers around and I'm gonna come down with the grain of the hair just to help finish that transition into the top. And again, I'll start with them open. I'll slowly just work them closed. Now I got my number 0 guard back, and I'm still just making this final transition. And I'm gonna do the same thing coming out with the grain of the hair. This isn't a step you have to take all the time. It kind of just depends on the texture of the hair. Sometimes you'll get that blend right away with that one. Other times you won't. And if you don't, then you can always come back and go with the grain of the hair to help get a smooth transition. And again, in this step, you know, it's kind of just using your mirror, finding spots that you need to clean up, and just find the guard that works for that, and go in and just kind of clean the area up. And that's what I'm doing now. So now I'm back with no guard, just trying to really get that bottom line out that I created with my detailers initially. You can see I'm just being real light with the hair. I'm not putting a ton of pressure on his head, and I'm just moving up and down just to blend out that line. And now the final step I like to take is getting like the complete baldness. And so I'm gonna take my T outliners. I'm just gonna, you see how I got them turned, and just kind of hit that spot just to make sure all that hair is gone. The balder you get it, the cleaner that your taper and your fade's gonna look. And I'm just being real light, just using the corners, not putting a lot of pressure at all. You don't want to create after you get it all faded up, the last thing you want to do is create another hard line that you got to go in and blend out again. Now I'm gonna switch you guys over to the right side of his head, and I'm just gonna do the same steps. Starting out with my detailers, just making the initial guideline. And I'm just going to just about the top of his head, but you see I'm not balding out his curved line. I'm still staying under that curved line. And then I'm back with my masters, same step, just going about a ½ inch above. And then I'm just gonna go in, I'm gonna start to work out that line with my masters. Work them down halfway, then work them down all the way closed. Now I'm down to the middle of the clipper. Not putting a lot of pressure, using the corners. You know, it may look like I'm using more of the blade, I'm not. The pressure I do have on the head is from the corner. Just working that down until you blend out that line. You see I'm using the same exact steps on this right side as I did the left side. If you guys watch a lot of my previous videos, I always talk about the right side of the hair grows a little bit different on some people. I'd actually say most people it grows a little bit different. It kind of grows back towards the ear and not like down towards the C cup. Just pay attention to like your clients next time you cut their hair, or next time you're cutting hair. Just check out how the right side grows. And I'm not saying it grows different on everybody, but I think most people, the hair on the right side grows back towards the ear. So when the direction of the hair changes, you have to change the way you're fading to go against the grain. Got my 0 guard on here, following the same technique I did before. Open all the way, going in, creating a slight guideline, and then blending that out, working my clippers down, back closed. And when you're doing your taper, you can always use your other side as a reference, just so you can make sure you can match them up. And so don't ever think that you can't look back over and see what you just did on the other side. Like I said, with the hair growth, changing direction, going back towards the ear. You see when I'm brushing it back towards the hair. I'm brushing it, in the direction that it grows, and you can see the different angle I'm using on this side when I'm doing the fading. Now my number one guard, I'm just gonna go in, like I said, this is my finishing guard, and start to blend it back into the top. And I'm gonna follow the same steps I did over here. I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna go against the grain, I'm gonna work my number one guard all the way down. Then I'm gonna flip the clipper around and come back with the grain just to kind of get that smooth transition into the top again. Here's that step again I talked about, coming back down with the grain just to get that final transition into the top. And you can see that the taper still needs some work over here. So I'm gonna take my guard off, open them up all the way, and go in and kind of just clean up this spot right here where I still see this line. Again, using the mirror is never gonna lie to you. The mirror is gonna show you exactly what needs to be fixed, or what is faded good already. And so use your mirror. I can't preach that enough. That's one of the most important things one of the most important tools you're gonna have when you're cutting hair, because without your mirror, your eye is not gonna catch everything. And over time, you're gonna develop that barber eye. You're gonna be able to see things better. But there's still things that I don't even catch in the mirror, or that I don't catch without the mirror. And now taking my TI liners again. Kind of going in, doing that final step, getting it nice and bald so it pops out. And I didn't use the 5-star shaver in this video. I'm really careful with which clients I used on, because they do bump people up, and so I didn't use it on this client just to avoid any razor bumps or anything like that in the future. Now with my TI liner, I'm just gonna go in and do my lineup. See, I'm tapping and pulling down, tapping and pulling down. I say that in all my videos. It's just a technique that I use when I'm lining people up. And now pay attention to how I do my C-cups. See, I start at the top, and then I'll go down to the bottom, sort of like my guidelines, and then I'll connect them. And that's what I'm doing right here, is connecting the C-cup. So I started at the top, went in a little bit, and then went to the bottom, got it started, and then connected them. That's just one of my techniques I like to use on the C-cups. I feel like when I do that, that's when I get my best C-cup lineups. Just really take your time. There's no rush when you're doing a lineup. This is the thing that you want to get the most perfect in the haircut, because this is the first thing the client's going to recognize when they look in the mirror, is what their lineup looks like. If the lineup's messed up, the whole haircut's messed up, no matter how great the fade is. But you still gotta have a great fade to go along with the great lineup. You're just moving to the other side, same technique, just tapping and pulling down, not putting a ton of pressure. Like I say, you got adjusted clippers, you don't want to cut your clients. It's very easy. If you're putting a lot of pressure, then it's very easy to cut them. A lot of times I'll save this vertical line for last. I'll do my top line, then I'll do my C-cups, then I'll connect them. But then again, I use different techniques all the time. And so in this video, you see I'm doing the top horizontal line. Now I'm doing the vertical line. Then I go down to my C-cups. Same thing on this C-cup right here. I'm gonna start at the top, just go in a little bit, and I'm gonna go down to the bottom, make my connecting line, and then connect the C-cup. Super simple step. I'm using the corners of my clippers a lot, and that's a good thing with the T-out liners. If you don't have a pair of liners or a pair of trimmers that have a T-blade, I don't know what you're doing. You have to get a T-out liner. I think most people's trimmers have a T-out liner though. And now this is just one of my finishing steps I do. This just cuts down any little hair. It's sort of like using the shears and going over the head, but I'll just take, I got my magic clip right here. I use my masters and my seniors. It just depends, whatever I feel like using that day. But I'm just gonna go over the hair, no guard, close them all the way. You gotta be steady-handed. You don't want to nick your client or anything like that. This is the end of the haircut, and just go with the grain of the hair, just cutting off any little hairs that you see. I mean, it's a great finishing step. If you guys don't do this, this is something I recommend that you go in and do. And this is just a little technique that I want to show you guys. In each video, I want to show you guys something that really makes the haircut stand out that maybe a lot of people don't do. But I do know a lot of barbers that do this step right here at the end of the haircut. The small details is what matters the most. So hope you guys learned this first taper. That's all I got for you in this video. Here's the final cut. Came out nice and clean, no enhancements. If you guys got questions, hit me up. But until the next video, this has been Adrian the Barber. Thank you guys for your support, and I will see you in the next one.